Good morning, everyone. I'm Grant Cohn. Got a special guest today. His name is Brett Lackey. You might know him. He's been a very ambitious, up-and-coming podcaster. I've seen him interviewing all the people I respect. He's been hitting me up consistently. Let's definitely do a show. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the schedule, but I'm going to be doing that later in the day when we know more for sure. We'll hit the first 3 weeks later, but first we want to talk about Trey Lance, some of the draft picks in the Niners' offensive identity. First, though, you should get to know Brett. Brett, tell him a little bit about yourself.
I appreciate you having me on, Grant. I've been aware of this 49er Twitter scene for the past year. I've been watching you. I started watching you on the Niners All Day show with Jason and Dre and different people. I saw you have your own thing. My brother actually introduced me to you. He sent me a link to a video, 49er video, and he's like, check this stuff out. And dude, your passion just jumps off the screen. And there was a time when as a 49er fan, as a football fan, I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. Your team only plays 16 games in a season. Most of our football fan experience is watching the media, watching people talk about our team.
That's true.
I'm watching way more Grant Cohn, Middle Hop than I am watching football games. Right? It's this weird thing. In baseball, you have a ton of games. Basketball, you have a ton of games.
It's the opposite. Baseball, there's not that much to talk about. Just watch the game, chill, be quiet and watch. In football, it's like, hey, man, they're not playing. You only had 16 of the 17.
You only have 3 hour, you have 16 3-hour games. And so I'm watching, it's content, draft season, free agency. It never ends. Anyways, man, I became a fan of a lot of people on this underworld, and I like talking ball. I said, hey, let's jump on. It's kind of started like, let's just talk to someone cool. And then I had fun. And so here we are, man. And, I'm really humbled and honored to talk to you, bro. I look up to you. I think a lot of people look up to you and respect you. You're good at what you do. You're very good at your craft. And so I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you. Thank you, Grant.
Well, appreciate it. The thing about you, Brett, is that he's extremely passionate as well. And he seems like a total natural. He's extremely verbal. You're in Fresno, right?
Yes. Yeah, I'm in Fresno.
And your father?
I am a father. Yeah, I'm 24. That's my – yeah, I'm a father.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so people know you now. All right, now you're part of the family. All right, so let's start with Trey Lance. He's going to make his 49ers debut on Friday in front of the media, and he's going to be talking to the media today in about 3 hours.
Oh, okay.
1 o'clock. So we're gonna get our first impression, but yeah, I mean, I'll be in a Zoom call. I don't really have any pressing questions, but I'll try to think of something. I'd like to see him play before I ask him a question,
dude. Over the course of the show, we're gonna think of a good question.
All right, fair enough. But we've watched a lot of film of Trey Lance. So going into his first appearance with the Niners, what is your impression of his greatest strength?
Okay, so Trey Lance was somebody, I got to be honest, I was late to the party. I was on Fields. I was on, believe it or not, my analysis of the top 5. And I don't know how much stock you're going to put into my analysis because, again, I was wrong about this. But I saw Zach Wilson and Trey Lance as kind of the riskier picks. I liked Justin Fields, okay? I even liked Mac Jones, okay? I know that's not popular. I thought there was a lot to like about Mac Jones. Not above Fields. Okay, so when they picked Trey Lance, the last week leading up to the draft, it became more and more of a reality. I started putting my microscope on him a little bit more. Since we picked him, that's all we've done. The first thing that jumps out to you is his athletic profile, okay, because it's impressive. He is you hear height, weight, speed guys. He's a height, weight, speed, strength guy. I mean, he's an athlete before anything. You see him, he does this all the time. We're in the pocket. He climbs the pocket pretty well. He's got pretty good pocket feet. He stays in his quarterback stance for a decent amount of time, even when there's pressure. But he'll tuck the ball and run up the middle. I don't see a lot of quarterbacks doing this. Robert Griffin, Lamar, Cap, these guys bounced outside. Trey Lance is a big guy, and he runs up the middle. Cam used to do this. Trey Lance likes to go straight up the middle like a running back, and he's strong through contact. He's a physically impressive guy. He hooped. He played ball. He's a very smooth, graceful athlete, very silky, very effortless. When I watched him throw the ball, pre-draft stuff, like the little videos, and then his pro day, I saw what I interpreted to be an over an over exaggeration and over emphasis of his mechanics. Everything he does is very snappy and very explosive and very intentional. He's doing everything. It's not subtle. There's not a lot of subtleties to his game. He's overemphasized everything, but he's very explosive, very twitchy. I kind of assume, and you hear with him, bad mechanics. Back to strengths. I've grown to like that. I think he's a very explosive player. He's very in control of his body. I think he's going to be a kid. He's 20 years old, and they say he needs his mechanics tightened up. I think he's a kid. You tell him, this is what you're going to do with your body. This is how you move your body. This is how you position your feet. This is how you position your core. This is how you get everything in alignment. This is how this is the arm angle we want you to throw with. I think he can do that. I think from here down to here, he's very in control of all of this. He's a very gifted, physically gifted player. The other stuff, right? Accuracy. When you go down the list of quarterback traits from in order of importance, accuracy has to be number one. Your primary job is to throw the ball. You have to throw it where you intend. Okay, accuracy is a question mark. I think that mechanically you can get with NFL coaches and they can tighten some things up. He did throw it well in college. He's thrown it well since then. He throws the deep ball well. Good lift on his deep ball. Beautiful ball. He isn't as aesthetically pleasing. He's very aesthetically pleasing the way he throws. Okay. Go ahead. You want to jump in?
Let me jump in here. Here. Is there an echo with me? People say there's an echo. I thought I fixed it. Let me know if there's an echo. But here's the way I look at it. You know why there's an echo? There is an echo because I'm in an empty apartment right now. There's construction over my apartment and this hella echo in here. Hold on. Tell me. Man, this sucks.
There's a little echo, but maybe it sounds worse to them. It doesn't sound bad to me. What
if I whisper? Is there an echo if I whisper? This is so janky. I'm sorry. It's because I'm in an empty apartment. The apartment manager was like, we're really sorry. We have construction above your apartment this week. We'll give you an empty apartment. I was like, oh yeah, that's going to work. Except that there's a fat echo in here. Sorry about that.
Wait, your apartment's empty? You empty?
Audios? No. This is an empty apartment in my apartment complex that the apartment manager gave me because I can't stream in my apartment because there's construction over it. Anyway, I'm gonna hold my thing very close and whisper so I don't yell and create hella echo. Okay, sorry about that. All right, Trey Lance, his biggest strength. Two things to me. I can't differ. It's first of all, it's the fact that he doesn't turn the ball over. People don't talk about that enough. Like the way I look at the Niners is they have the best run game in the league. They have the best defense, or they contend for that. That's how they're built. They need a game manager first and foremost. And the thing that's crazy about Jimmy.
This is why you're good. Straight to the point. I like it.
Thanks, man. And the thing about Jimmy is that he can't even be a game manager. It's like, dude, stop turning the ball over. They're asking him to throw like 20 passes a game. So Trey Lance doesn't turn the ball over. I like that about him. But the best thing, obviously his athleticism is off the charts. But I think what's coolest about him is how well he throws on the run. Left, right, rolling left, rolling right. It's a very specific skill set. He's elite at it. And people talk about he's not accurate. He is when he's rolling, when he's on the run. Yeah, and that reminds me a lot of Kaepernick. It reminds me a lot of Kaepernick, but I think, frankly, he's a better thrower on the run. And it's like, look at guys like Josh Allen, how effortless he is. You saw him against the Niners just tear him up outside the pocket. That's what Trey Lance is going to be able to do too.
Yeah, I like that. Zach Wilson got all the throw on the run hype, all of it, right? Zach Wilson got the most natural thrower, most unorthodox arm angles, and people slept on Trey Lance. Trey Lance is he's smoother. I go back to Justin Fields because I liked him. Justin Fields is carries a little bit more muscle and he's a little bit stiffer. Trey Lance is a little bit more loose, and that throw on the run, like you said, is effortless.
I think he's better at throwing on the run than Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is better at throwing from the pocket than Trey Lance, or at least mechanically. But throwing on the run is Trey Lance. I give it to him. He's a natural. And the reason I think he's so good at it, he's got that basketball background. And if you watch it, it's like, are you a spot up shooter in basketball, or are you the kind of guy who uses movement and rhythm to create a shot, to pull up? And I think that's the way he was. So he's used to moving before throwing, before passing, before shooting. So I think it's a natural. And we're going to see the difference, the main difference between the Trey Lance offense and the Jimmy offense
Yeah.
All the play action bootlegs. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that John Elway and Steve Young used to do under Mike Shanahan that Jimmy just can't do because he's lower than you are, Brett.
Yeah. Jimmy was advertised as that guy, was he not? Good feet, pretty good on the move. When he came in here in 2017, that's what we thought we were getting. Turns out he's not that guy.
No. So I really want to see what Kyle Shanahan can do and build an offense around a guy who is just a total freaking natural throwing on the run. Because it's important. You have to be good in the pocket, but all the big plays come when the quarterback breaks out of the pocket. Today's NFL, pretty much. Yeah. Unless you're Tom Brady. So anyway, let's move on to.
You're good real quick. You're really good with words. I've been trying to explain this to people, and I can't do it, dude. I keep failing on like live shows. I'm like stumbling through this. I keep saying Trey Lance is in control of his body. Do you know what that means, and how do you better explain that to people? Because you know what I'm saying when I say that?
I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, Bill Walsh would call it body control. It's like for a wide receiver, it's the ability to contort your body in the air and make adjustments midair and put your body where it needs to be to make the catch. Same thing with Trey Lance. And I think one way you can see it is the dude falling down a lot on the field, or is he making other people fall down?
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
You know what I'm saying?
Good point. Yeah,
he definitely has that. But now that's 12 minutes of positivity. And that, frankly, that doesn't fly on my channel.
Too much.
Way too much. So let's talk about Trey Lance's weaknesses because he certainly has some. He just turned 21. What do you think his biggest weakness is at this stage of his career? Which hasn't even started yet.
What I saw, and I think it's a lot. The positives jump out at you a lot more. The weaknesses, I think you have to have a trained eye to see them because I think it's a lot of inexperience. I think it's progression. I think it's seeing the field, and I think pass rush. And this happens with a lot of young quarterbacks, and this is going to happen early in his career. The speed, the speed of play jump that's going to happen at the next level from
that's a good call.
The conference he played in, man, to where he's going in this division with the athletes you have. This is a fast division.
Jimmy went through the same thing. He played in 1AA football and he sat on the bench for 3.5 years. So you're right. Yeah,
I mean the pass rush is pressure. And this happens with a lot of young quarterbacks. He's young. He's inexperienced. He hasn't played that many snaps. When you start heating him up, he was able to tuck it and beat guys to the corner and beat guys when they had a superior angle on him. And he was able to out athleticism people. That's not going to happen at the next level. He's going to have to be a lot headier. He's going to have to burn the ball when it's not there. He's not going to get to play backyard football as much as he did. Pressure is where I think things are going to fall apart a little bit. They already did at that level. You saw when he struggled, it was sometimes pressure. He liked to take the ball and run it up the middle. And I like that mentality. We're going to talk about that mentality. This offense is coming downhill. But how much do you want your quarterback running the ball up the middle into linebackers? You know what I mean?
But that's one of the reasons why he turns the ball over so infrequently. When there's pressure, he's not just throwing the ball up. He's checking it down, throwing it away, or running, which is nice. Because the thing that I couldn't get over with Justin Fields, you show me all the good clips you want, and there's a ton. Mm-hmm. But just looking at some of his interceptions, it's not that he misread the coverage or got fooled. It's like you made a terrible decision under pressure. You were going down, you should have took a sack, and you threw it up. And it's like that's not a question of I don't know why we're talking about Justin Fields, but that's not a question of smarts. That's just like an instinct. That's a reaction. And that can't be coached. And that scares me with Justin Fields. With Trey Lance, I've never seen him have that reckless instinct. I mean, he's actually very cautious and safe, which I like when you pair it with that otherworldly athleticism. So
talk about that. It's a sense. It's instinctual. It's not. It's a feel. It's a game. It's IQ, but it's a feel of the game that he has. That's someone like Justin Fields, like you said, he goes into.
It's a question I have about Justin Fields. I don't know. He's not a pro yet. Maybe he'll turn the ball over less in the NFL than Trey Lance. But let me say real quick my thing with Trey Lance, his biggest weakness, and I think it's always going to be his biggest weakness.
Okay.
Not saying it's always going to be a hindrance, but it's his accuracy and mechanics from the pocket.
Gotcha.
And this is what I see with Carson Wentz too, who went to the same school. I saw Carson Wentz beat the Niners this year pretty much by himself. Okay. Every time he broke out of the pocket to the right, the guy threw a freaking dime, a missile. He's so natural with it. But when he's in the pocket, he looks like a dancer counting steps. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you think it's a footwork thing? You think it's his feet?
It's just the whole thing is learned and unnatural. It's like, okay, what did my coach tell me this week? Right. Okay, so I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this, and it's just he's worked very hard on it, but it's always going to be something that he's fighting with. And I wonder how instinctual it will be for him in the pocket. The way throwing on the run is so instinctual and natural for him. Right. It's the opposite in the pocket. And there's a lot of quarterbacks like that. I mean, Wentz, Allen to a degree. And that's okay because you're going to want to get Trey Lance on the perimeter as much as possible anyway.
Right.
You want to give him options where he's out on the run, and if the throw isn't there, he can run it himself.
Right.
So that's okay. He'll always be working on his mechanics from the pocket the way that Kaepernick was. And as long as he's diligent about it and keeps working on it into his 30s, he'll be a hell of a quarterback.
Yes, dude. I just was thinking about as you're going through this pocket play outside of the pocket, your athleticism gets to take over, right? Inside the pocket, you have to rein it in. It's a very controlled. You're not being an athlete, you're being a technician. And when you ask him to be a technician the way you ask a slow twitch guy like Brady and Breeze, those guys are technicians, right? They're not being exposed.
The fast twitch is here with them. What Brady and Breeze do better than other quarterbacks is they know where to go with the ball faster. Yeah. It's not about going through progressions. It's about a process of elimination that happens pre-snap.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And these guys it happens here. And you see it with Breeze. You never see Breeze go hesitate, get to his back foot and look here, and then it's not there, and then look here, and then it's not there, and look here. It's like, no. He knows where the ball needs to go before he hits his back foot. Yeah. And that's the game. I mean, so when people say against Justin Fields, like he goes through his progressions. Yeah, he goes through his progressions slowly. I mean, it's not like Drew Brees who just I've never seen Drew Brees go through a progression. It's just
when you throw the ball under 2 seconds, you're not going through 3 progressions.
No, you're doing that before the snap and really as you're dropping back. You've probably, if you have 5 eligible receivers, you've eliminated 2 of them pre-snap.
Yeah.
And then you eliminate 2 more as you're dropping back if you're Drew Brees. Otherwise, that's the game from the pocket, man. It's a mental quick twitch, and that's a muscle too. I don't know how you improve that.
What do you think? How do you think Trey Lance is at that? What do you see mentally with him?
All reports is that he's phenomenal at that. But as you said at the beginning, speed of the game is going to be a lot different.
The
up. Coverages that he's going to see a lot different. Back in college, everyone's worried about him running. So they're probably playing 8 in the box with vanilla coverages behind it, and he can tear it up. That's not going to be the case as much in the NFL. So it'll be a process, but everyone says he's a genius and that his instincts are top notch. So that's why they took him. Yeah. As opposed to Fields.
Right. That's why Fields is relevant still to this day, is because
always be compared.
For a lot of people, it came down to Fields or Lance, and a lot of people thought Fields was the better, the more superior version. And it turned into Lance. And that's so fascinating to me as to why Kyle thought that.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on from Lance. Another guy who's real interesting, Jaylen Moore. He was their first fifth round pick, but he was projected to be a 3rd round pick. He played at the Senior Bowl. Good player. He was a left tackle in college, also got experience at the Senior Bowl at guard. How do you want the Niners to handle his development? What do you think? You
start at tackle. Okay, he played tackle.
I agree.
He played tackle in college. If you have a starting tackle, if you can get a starting tackle out of this guy, that's so much more valuable than a starting guard. Okay, he can always transfer. He can always switch to guard later in his career. You start him at tackle, and I say that because number one, he's a very experienced player. I think he started 32 games. If I'm correct, I know he's very experienced. He played a lot of tackle. He's a big man. He goes 3'11", and he moves well. Okay, his pass slides, by all accounts, he's light on his feet. His pass slides are very quick and very smooth, very quiet feet. I think he doesn't have like the longest arms, but he's got huge hands. Okay, he's got big hands. He can grab onto you, and he moves well. Okay, side to side. I think they drafted him to be kind of a swing tackle year one, and get coached up as a tackle. And I think you do that because you need Mike McGlinchey insurance. Okay, if Mike McGlinchey hits the open market and some team like the Colts or whoever decides to throw big money at him, we have too many people to pay, dude. We can't pay Mike McGlinchey top 8 tackle money.
Or if the opposite happens and Mike McGlinchey's downward descent of his career continues, now you got insurance. So
Correct.
either way.
Correct.
Either way.
That's why I think you started. I'm trying to think like Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, and I think that's what they're doing. I would bet you see him training camp preseason. He's taking reps at tackle. They just drafted a guard, and they have a good guard on the left. So maybe down the road he's your left guard of the future. You know, year 2, year 3, you decide to go that way. I think early on he's a tackle, man.
I mean, from what I've seen, the little I've seen from him on tape, I'll see better in camp and stuff, but he looks like he has quicker feet than Mike McGlinchey right now. Right now.
Not as long.
So why would you –
better feet, way better feet.
Yeah, not as long, but I mean, who needs a 6'8", 290-pound offensive tackle? I don't see – you're almost more built like a tight end. I mean, Levine Toilolo was 6'8", 280. I mean man, come on. This guy's 6'4", 315. That's more proportionate to a tackle. And if he's 6'4", 315, that means he's more compact and stouter, tougher to move than McGlinchey, and he has quicker feet. I'd like to see what he can do because I'm not really sold. I mean, maybe McGlinchey comes in this year at 315 looking great, but what if he's not? I'd like to see what Jaylen Moore can do. I don't have any real confidence in Sean Coleman or Justin School. So yeah, man.
No, zero confidence.
Zero.
You needed a swing tackle anyway. You needed a backup tackle anyways, right?
Yes. So everyone's quick to put him at guard. Niners, don't do that. You can always move him to guard down the line. Please. All right. Talanoa Hufanga. A lot of people think this guy is a steal of the Niners draft. He was a All-American this past season, but he's had a bunch of injuries. He's a bit of an undersized, strong safety who's not super fast, but he produces. What do you think they should do with him?
Okay, I like this pick. Everything I heard about this guy, I didn't know anything about him, but I started doing my homework the second this pick was made. And I'm going to tell you the things that were said to me, okay? He was the emotional and vocal leader of that USC team. He's a very tenacious, physical player, okay, which you want in the middle. Leadership, physicality, okay, tone setter. He has a high IQ. He's an instinctual player, right? I like him in the middle of the field. I like him in the box. I like him in the flat. I like him playing like a middle flat zone. I like him using his football IQ, using his instincts. He gets his hands on the ball, dude. Fumble recovery. He knocks balls down. He intercepts balls. He has a nose for the ball, right? And I like him. He plays the run really well. He shoots run lanes really fast, really explosively. He's not a straight line speed guy. Okay, so I don't like him deep. I don't like him deep middle. You know, like single high. He's not a sideline to sideline guy. Okay. He had a good 3-cone. Okay, 3-cone tells me short area explosiveness. It tells me change the direction. I think he can probably man up tight ends. If he can man up tight ends and he can play in the box and he's smart and he's a leader, he's your kind of your Kwaski Tart, right? If you put him if you have like Fred Warner and Greenlaw and this kid in the middle, you have a very smart, him and Warner are vocal, you have a leadership. Every good defense, every great defense has that thumper, has that punisher, that Cam Chancellor, that Brian Dawkins, that John Lynch. Tart hits pretty hard. Warner and Greenlaw a little bit light. Warner will punish, but if this guy can really punish people and he can hammer people over the middle, I just like the edge he brings. He sounds like he's a vocal guy. I like him in the middle, kind of a linebacker or safety hybrid.
Yeah, I think he could become a starting safety down the line. I don't think he's a great fit next to Ward because Ward plays so much nickel. Like they really play him in coverage a lot. And when he's playing nickel, then usually Tart's playing free safety, like deep, single high. And Tart can do that. Tart's fast. I don't think that as you said, I don't think he can do that. He doesn't have that straight line speed. So he'd be a better fit next to a different free safety who can also come down and play strong safety, like a split safety scheme where Hufanga isn't asked to play up top by himself. So maybe down the line, he could be a starting safety for the Niners. But initially, I think his ideal role for the Niners is on special teams. He can be the kind of guy who is like making the biggest hits on special teams, forcing turnovers on special teams. And
I like it.
That can be the way that he becomes a playmaker early on.
And there's value there, dude.
No doubt there's value there. I mean, Jim Harbaugh always valued it. They always had guys like Bubba Ventrone and CJ Spillman, like guys who were just on the team to play special teams and make plays on special teams. Yeah. That could be what this guy does, because really the only playmaker the Niners have on special teams is Raheem Mostert, who isn't really in a position to play it that much anymore because he's so good at running the ball. So this guy could be his way into 49er fans' hearts.
That's how a lot of guys, late round picks early in their career, have to make the team. Is you have to play special teams and you have to play it well. You have to throw your body around, and then as you get experience in the secondary and on the back end and in coverage, then you get a role. Maybe Tart moves on next year. Moore, you see Moore as kind of the deep safety kind of guy, because Moore has that speed, right?
Yeah, he's like a pure deep safety. I wouldn't like him much at strong safety. That's the thing. I'm trying to cancel out the echo by doing ASMR right now. No, I think the Niners want versatile. Like, they need versatile safeties because of Jimmy Ward. K'Wan Williams can't cover man-to-man. Jimmy Ward can. So they need a strong safety who also can play free safety, single high. And that's not, that's not really that's not Marcel Harris.
Right.
So Tavarius Moore is interesting, but he's still built like a corner. He can't really drop down and play strong safety. So
right.
I don't know.
He's not.
Hufanga may have a brighter future on the Niners than Moore.
I think he may.
Possible.
I think the safety position, I think it keeps the Niners front office up at night, because Tart and Ward, in theory, I mean, that's a great safety tandem. They're smart. They're heady players. They play well. You're not guaranteed they play half a season on any given year. It's such a question mark as far as durability, right?
Absolutely. And all the Niner fans wring their hands about Jimmy Garoppolo. What about Jaquiski Tart? I mean, Tart misses just as many games as Garoppolo. Yeah. Jimmy Ward misses games. I mean, geez, these are very important players to this team. So, yeah, good thing they drafted this Hufanga guy. He might be playing this year. I haven't really watched much of his tape yet. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe it'll be the next one.
Safety gets overlooked. Safety is an important position in this defense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Those are the guys that usually create more turnovers in the corners. I mean, their coverage isn't as important, but they're more the playmakers. Yeah. Right, let's talk about this schedule. No. Let's talk about the Niners' offensive identity, and then we'll talk about the schedule.
This is the best. This is
how would you describe the Niners' offensive identity? Let's talk that first.
Okay. This is throwback. This is meathead. This is not your Cliff Kingsbury sophistication. But I don't like that. Wow.
They say I sound like I'm in prison or like I'm in a restroom. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can. Soon I'm going to have a multi-million dollar studio like Blue Wire Pods, but not right now. I'm in an empty apartment. Just,
That's what's up, dude.
Doing the best I can.
That's the grind. You had to switch apartments. That's crazy, dude. That's commitment. You know what, dude? You know what's crazy about you? You were on vacation 3-4 weeks ago, and you were still doing your shows from Tahoe?
Yeah.
That dude.
I have a problem. It's not a good thing. I need to stop, but I'm not going to stop anytime soon.
You have to.
It gives me anxiety, the idea of taking a day off. I don't like maybe one day. So people are like, "Hey, Grant, you need to stop." I'm like, "Oh, why don't you leave me alone?" It's like an intervention. Grant, it's been more than a year. Every day. You know what? It's none of your business.
What is it?
I'm trying to get a house, man. I'm trying to save up for a house, baby.
What motivates Grant?
I have a massive chip on my shoulder.
Is that what it is?
I have a massive chip on my shoulder. Every job I didn't get from 23 to 32.
Okay.
Every one of my peers who got elevated over me. Every time someone in a position of power thought I wasn't going to be that good or I was a little too edgy, man, check my bank account now, bro. What you think about me now, son?
Check my numbers, son.
Enough of my chip on my shoulder, though. Let's talk about the Niners' offensive identity, because this is your observation. I think it's brilliant, and I want to discuss it.
I like it, man. I like it, and I'll tell you, 49er fans like this too. I'll tell you why. I tweeted out a list of players, and this single tweet got more traffic than anything I've ever done. And that's not because of me. No one knows who I am. I'll tweet out all my other tweets get 1 or 2 likes. This tweet blew up. And what I said was I listed off players. George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, to a lesser degree. He's not super physical, but he is too. He breaks tackles. And then we went Jeff Wilson, who I love. We went Trey Sermon. We went Jalen Hurd. Okay. A couple things. I left Mostert off, and I left Mostert off for a reason. And I put Jalen Hurd on there for a reason. This offense, dude, I'd be curious if you take all their starters, their offensive line, their receivers, their tight ends, their running backs, and you did a collective, what you weighed them collectively. How many pounds this offense goes? I know this offensive line is heavy. This offensive skill position group might not be the heaviest, but it's extremely physical. It's a
way bigger than it was 3 years ago. Marquise Goodwin, Dante Pettis. Remember some of these shrimps that were on this team?
Get Taylor off the field. Get Dante.
Now this team is like the Harbaugh year. This is a bully.
I love it, dude. I freaking love it. You're going the quickest route to the end zone is north and south. Okay? I don't want an east-west offense, right? On most plays. Now, there's times when that works. North and south, Debo's north and south.
The fact that Kyle couldn't go north and south cost him 2 Super Bowls. You're up late. Yeah. You're up in the second half. You go north and south. You don't mess around. But he never had the size to push teams around the way that the Bucks did. I mean, no one likes Leonard Fournette. Everyone's like, they had a lead in the second half of the Super Bowl. Give it to Leonard Fournette. He'll ice that.
Yep.
So the Niners have that capability now.
The Atlanta team wasn't a big team.
No, it was finesse. It was like the greatest show on turf. So here's the thing. What the Niners want to do is clear. They were trying to rebuild the Falcons. That was a finesse team. It was a dome team. Yeah. They get over here. Now you're on grass.
Turf
and
team.
You can't really recreate that speed. Also, the best player that you drafted is George Kittle. And George Kittle's different than anyone you've ever had. And he's kind of creating the identity of your team. Then you draft Deebo Samuel, who's way different than Dante Pettis. And now you've got an identity. And the identity of the 49ers is we're going to run you over. Dante Pettis wasn't trying to run you over. Marquise Goodwin wasn't trying to run you over. But every person on the Niners now, from the quarterback to the running back, to the tight end, to the wide receiver, they run you over.
Yeah.
And that's a very interesting, physical, powerful identity that not a lot of teams in the NFL have anymore.
The Ravens have been that for some time. They're the only and the page. If you watch Patriot football, they've been, especially last year, they wanted to be a north-south team.
But I can't even the Patriots. I can't think of. I mean, sure, you have teams that are physical with their run game, but tight ends who break tackles, wide receivers who relentlessly break tackles. I think that's really what sets the Niners apart. Guys like Deebo and Kittle. But again, I think it's a double-edged sword. So it's really cool to see the Niners playing so hard and fighting for the extra yard and getting a couple extra yards, but at what cost?
Right.
I mean, the Niners are the most injury-prone team in the league. And I think that there's a million reasons why, but one of the reasons is that the identity of their offense is to fight for the extra yard. Okay, well, over the course of 16 games, how many bones are you going to break collectively as a team? So I think there's something there.
I mean, you saw last year, and now some of these plays, like Deebo kept getting hurt on plays. They were non-contact, but you saw Deebo get hurt last year. You saw Kittle get hurt last year. You saw this whole – and Mostert's not seeking out contact, and I love Mostert. And Mostert is your change of pace back, and I left him off for a reason, but Mostert's value is tremendous. Going
by
back,
far the best change of pace back in the league. If he's your change of pace back, my goodness, you might be going to the Super Bowl.
Right. Well, he carried us, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think that's why they drafted 2 running backs, and it shocked everybody. That's why they drafted 2 running backs. They're going to run the ball.
Yes, absolutely. And there's nothing like the Niners can do about it. Really, I'm not saying they should change their identity. They just need depth. You can't count on George Kittle to be Travis Kelce and suit up 16 games a year. You just can't. That's not the way he plays. So you need a really good backup. Fortunately, they got one, Big Ross Dwelly. Same thing with at wide receiver. They need really good backups. That's why they're holding out hope for Jalen Hurd. Yes, my audio's a little off today, guys. I'm in an empty apartment. I'm sorry. It's like I'm in a bathroom. I really should have opened up a door or something or put a couch in here, but what are you gonna do? We're making do. So
throw some pills around, dude. Just throw.
I really should have, man. My bad. So yeah, I think this is it's an interesting offensive identity. It's clear that not many other teams do it. I mean, what other teams are encouraging their wide receivers to break tackles?
Yeah. Here's why Here's why I like it, Grant, because it's old school. It's old school. It's going to be, like you said, Harbaugh, Greg Roman, Ravens, but it's going to have, it's that old school meathead, philosophy, but it's going to have Kyle Shanahan creativity and sophistication. So, and I think that, and Trey, your quarterback, I'm very interested to see how they coach Trey Lance, because he likes to put his shoulder down. And he's strong through contact. Are they going to let him like play that bully ball? Are they going to let him take on a corner?
No,
they should not.
He's too important. He's too important. He's the future of the franchise. He's supposed to be the quarterback when he's 35, 37, 40.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they want him to run around and boot out and throw on the run. But no, dude, do not lower your shoulder into people. You're not Cam Newton. Look what you don't want to be Cam Newton. Look what the Panthers did to Cam.
They ruined him.
They ruined him before he was 30 years old.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you run him judiciously, but you don't play him like Cam Newton. He's way too important. You don't even play him like Lamar Jackson because, frankly, the Ravens aren't 100% invested in Lamar Jackson. He was the 32nd pick in the draft. They could move on at any point. So, anyway, okay, let's talk schedule, man, because that's the breaking news, and I think that's what fans are most interested in. Week 1, apparently, they're going to be in Detroit, playing the Lions, big Jared Goff, who really struggled against Nick Mullins. But Mullins is gone. Now, week 1. It's hard to say, really, who's going to win these games at this point. We don't even know who the Niners quarterback's going to be. But honestly, does it matter against Detroit?
I'm curious. This what is his name? What's his name? Dan Campbell? What's his freaking name?
Yeah. His name is, what's his freaking name?
Is it Dan Campbell? I feel like that's an RV.
Let him win a game before we learn his name. I think it might be Dan Campbell, but I don't think we should call him Dan Campbell. From now on, his name is Dan Campbell's.
Yeah. Who knows?
Dan Campbell's. Who knows?
This guy's nuts. He played tight end in the NFL. I know he was a temporary coach for the Dolphins, and I remember they won like 2 games. They blew teams out.
Dan Campbell's, who could forget?
Yeah. He was doing like Oklahoma drills in like week 8, like middle of the season. I think this team plays hard. I think the Niners win.
Yeah, I think the Niners are 7-point road favorites.
Is that what they're opening up at?
7-point road favorites.
Oh wow!
I'm looking at their roster. They got their quarterback is Jared Goff. They got Penei Sewell. Love that.
I love
their
that.
wide receivers are Tyrell Williams and Rashad Perriman. You gotta be kidding me.
Ooh.
The tight end is TJ Hawkinson. He's cool. The running back is DeAndre Swift. I mean, that's all right. No, this team is terrible, man.
If they have a good O-line, if they get good O-line play, they'll probably play close game. They could run the ball, which of course that's what they're going to want to do.
It just looks like the Lions are years away from even being able to compete. They look terrible.
Right.
This looks like a win for the 49ers, although it is on the road. It shouldn't be a problem. The Niners are better on the road last year than they were at home. They lost all their home games, I think, or most of them. I forget. Anyway,
put it this way: if you lose this game, it's a really bad feeling around Niner Nation. You can't drop this game.
My goodness! If Jimmy Garoppolo starts the season as a starter and loses his game, Niner fans will be instantly benching him that game. But I really think even Jimmy Garoppolo could beat. I think Jimmy Garoppolo could. And one more: does the fact that they're playing such a weak opponent give Trey Lance a better chance to start week 1? It's not like they're playing the Packers.
This is dude. We can do 30 minutes on this because there's so much. There's so much here. There's when do you sell Jimmy? Do you sell him low? Do you sell him high? Do you play him? Do you increase his value? What do you do with Jimmy? There's the money. Do you cut him? Do you roll that money over? I mean, there's so many things here. If Jimmy, I know this about Jimmy. He's a slow starter. There's a chance he throws 2 inexplicable picks week 1 in a game you should win by 10. You lose by 3. Because he throws the fourth quarter. I mean, Jimmy, week 1, I like Jimmy. I think he's honestly being underrated at this point by Niner fans. Jimmy, week 1s, man. I mean, you saw a couple years ago against the Vikings. You saw last year against the Cardinals. He's not sharp.
It's not good. No, he's not.
It's not good.
No. Even 2019 when he won against Tampa Bay, did not play well in that game. He had to do a pick 6.
That's right. Yeah, it was horrible.
Do a pick 6.
Horrible. His touchdown to Richard Williams was just schemed wide open.
Yeah. So Jared Goff against Jimmy Garoppolo, once again, the matchup of what I would say is the two softest quarterbacks in the NFL. Sorry, Niner fans, but I don't think you really care about Jimmy Garoppolo's feelings anymore. The two softest quarterbacks in the NFL. Let's see who can make it through the game. Honestly,
is this the Jared
although
Goff
Trey Lance may start.
Game,
What's up?
Is this the Jared Goff revenge game?
No. There's never going to be a Jared Goff revenge game, revenge tour, revenge season. Jared Goff just sucks. Sorry, Jared.
He's a placeholder.
He's soft. He's soft. He can throw the ball as well as any quarterback in the league, but if you get within 2 yards of him, he freaks out. Yeah. That's why he's not on the Rams anymore.
True.
Soft. Okay. Week 2. Hold on. All right. So week 1, they're in Detroit. Week 2, Philly. This is interesting. This is another team that's in flux. First year freaking head coach. Who is their quarterback? Is it Jalen Hurts? Nick Sirianni's the coach. Jalen Hurts is the quarterback. This is a team that beat the Niners last year in Levi's.
Yeah.
Also, I think the most interesting thing about this matchup is that it's a road game after a road game. They go from Detroit, which is in the Eastern time zone, to Philly, which is even further.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, do they stay in Youngstown? What they've noticed is staying in Youngstown helps for this game, but it really sets you back for the next game. Because then you've spent basically 2 weeks on the East Coast. Your body clock has changed. You go back to the West Coast, boom, jet lag, and it lasts. And if you remember, 2 years ago, they won their first 2 road games. 2019, they started off in Tampa. They went to Cincinnati, won both, stayed in Youngstown in between, came back, played Pittsburgh, turned the ball over 5 times.
Barely won.
Basically walked through the game, won anyway. So the question is, should they stay in Youngstown? Do they need to stay in Youngstown to beat Philly?
This is interesting, man, because you have a different perspective. I think fans, honestly, I'll speak for myself. I think a lot of fans, we kind of, the road, the home, the travel, we hear it, but I think we underrate it, honestly. We don't think it's that big of a deal. Like, okay, yeah, you're on the road, You're there, you're seeing it you're seeing it more up close, and you have a different perspective on it. It is important. I mean, just personally, when you're traveling, when you're away from your family, there's these little things that they play a role.
But just think about it this way: the NFL there's so much parity. All the players are so close to each other in terms of how good they are. They all run a 4.5. They're all 230 pounds. Yeah. The difference in what makes winning and losing that week is little things like bounce of the ball or which 53 guys are a little bit fresher that week. You know, if one team all has a little bit of jet lag, well, that's going to be a factor considering the other team doesn't, you know?
Yeah.
So they may not need to stay in Youngstown to beat the Eagles. That being said, if you drop the game to the Eagles, what did you just do? I mean, it's a tough one. Maybe you don't take it for granted. You stay in Youngstown, you win that game, and you deal with the fallout afterward.
That's interesting because what everybody says, what every coach will tell you, and every player will tell you, if you practice is so important. This is another thing I think fans probably underrate. They say if you practice good, you usually play good. I've heard that a lot. I mean, you tell me.
Yeah.
And the travel, it affects play, but it could affect practice a great deal, right? If your mind's not in it, if you're not locked in, if you don't have your routine. Football players are they're creatures of habit, right? They have a lot of them they have a routine. I wake up at this time, I work out here, I eat here, I do my meetings here, I practice. It's you want to have everything organized and you want to have your schedule and you want to get to sleep. And if that gets thrown off and shifted around and maybe you're not practicing well, practice is very important for these games, man. And how can travel throw off practice?
Well, I mean, it can throw off just your ability to maintain your routine. I mean, if you're that much of a creature of habit, all of a sudden now you got to change everything. Now you're in another bed. Your sleep might be thrown off. Your hydration might be thrown off. All the little things that you have on lock at home. Maybe your wife is the one who monitors and makes sure you eat the right things or you go to sleep at the right time. Who knows? A lot of time these wives are like the player's manager. It's like, hey, you eat now. You go to bed now. You live now. And if they're on the road, like, are they at Hooters? Are they at the club? You never know what they're doing. These dudes are Youngstown. 24, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know. I bet you there's a Hooters in Youngstown. But then Hooters is a family place. I've never been to Hooters, so I don't really know. But you know what I'm saying? A lot of times You're a millionaire. You're 24. You're on the road, and just the routine's a little off. If you don't have leadership on the team, you don't have a strong head coach. You're on your own, man. And some of these kids aren't mature and responsible the way others are. So, yeah.
This Eagle game. What do you think the Eagles bring to the table? I see them as they've always been kind of a scrappy team, but they had a head coach and they had Jim Schwartz, who was a scrappy D coordinator.
Here's the way I look at the Niners. I mean, the Niners' first 2 weeks, they lucked out. Even though they're on the road, week 1, new head coach.
Yeah.
Week 2, new head coach.
I know.
These guys, they might get their feet under them by the end of the year, but usually new head coaches struggle. Most of them. Rough. Kyle went 1-10.
Yeah.
I went 1-10. So Nick Sirianni, Kyle's going to school you, man. You are going to be
on the road. You want these to be road games. For sure.
What Nick Sirianni's going to do is he's going to make DeMeco Ryans look like a freaking genius.
Yeah, DeMeco's his stock's going to be way up after 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the Niners have two road games to start the season, but we think they're going to start off 2-0.
Okay, let's do it.
Week 3, they come home and they play a Sunday night game against Green Bay, the Green Bay Packers. How do you see this one going down? Now, hold on. This is a tough one to do on May 12th because we don't know who either team's quarterback's going to be.
I think Rodgers is a Packer.
Okay, I think that's a fair assumption, but it's fair to point out beforehand that we don't know that.
Correct. Let's act like Rodgers is. Let's assume Rodgers is a Packer.
Yes.
What's up, man? What's up, Jesse? Hey, dude, don't be choking people out, bro.
You got to give some context to that, man.
I know.
Jesse's a fighter.
Yeah, he is. I saw him hitting that heavy bag the other day.
Yeah, it was scary.
Cool, dude. I like that guy. Good guy. He was in, dude. I did a live show the other day. I had like 2 people, and one of them was Jesse, and he was filling my comment section up with.
Oh man, Jesse's the best. I love Jesse.
He's good, dude. He was in there for like 20 minutes. I'm like,
man, I love that, dude. Yeah,
good guy, man. Yeah, showing like real love.
Real love for sure.
This Packer game. I see it as a toss-up. On paper, the Packers, man, they had a lot of Pro Bowlers last year. I don't know how much stock you put into Pro Bowls, but they had a good team.
They went to the NFC Championship game. A lot of people felt they should have won that game.
They should have won that game. Yeah, they should have won that game. They have a.
They blew it, but they were in position to win it
for sure. And if they go play in that Super Bowl, I mean, they probably beat that Chiefs team the way they played. Rodgers. I think there can be a ton of chaos around that coaching staff and that quarterback. I think if Rodgers is under center week 1, I think he plays well. I think they have a pretty young, bright coaching staff. They have a new DC.
Oh, right? Let me see.
Pett is gone. I forget who they hired.
Joe Barry.
We know him, right? Do we know him?
Yeah. Who is Joe Barry?
Joe Barry. I recognize him.
Yeah, he might have an NFC West tie. Hold on. Wait for it. No, he was with the Niners. He was quality control in 2000. Wow, 20 years ago. But no, he was with the Rams last 4 years as the assistant head coach and linebackers coach. Boom. The Rams. There you go.
This league works, right? The Rams have a good defense 1 year, and then people get hired.
All the Rams assistant coaches have gotten hired. I mean, the Seahawks have their guy as their offensive coordinator. It's like that team is decimated. But we're not talking about them. Green Bay. At home, prime time.
Grant, can you name me some linebackers besides the outside linebackers? Can you name me guys up the middle, D tackles, linebackers, inside linebackers?
On Green Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, I can cheat.
I can cheat, but I really can't. They don't have. I mean, I don't know how stout they are up the middle, and they're going to need.
Yeah, their linebackers always stink. They're middle linebackers. They got Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin. I've honestly never heard of either dude.
Me neither.
Ever.
Me neither.
They always are slow and weak. They have good outside linebackers.
They can rush.
They have good. Yeah, they got good defensive linemen. They got good DBs, but they always are soft in the middle.
Who's their D tackles?
Kenny Clark went to UCLA. He's a good player. Dean Lowry, he's also pretty good. But I mean, their best player is Darius Smith. They also have Preston Smith and Rashawn Gary, so they have good edge rushers. But up the middle, they're soft, and the Niners are trying to gouge you up the middle this year.
Yeah,
Aaron Banks and Trey Sermon.
I think you say loss. Let's simplify this. Quarterback, if it's Rodgers and Jimmy Garoppolo, and the rosters and coaching staffs are, give or take, they're the quarterback is the great equalizer, right? Mm-hmm. Rodgers is still playing. He's playing at an MVP level, and he's as motivated as he's ever been. Whether you're rolling out Jimmy Garoppolo or a rookie quarterback in prime time, if I'm a betting man, I do like to bet occasionally. If this was a like a 3-point game or whatever, I think the Packers probably win this game.
Yeah, I think when this hits, I mean, we don't know what either team's record is going to be entering week 3, but when this game hits the books, the boards in Vegas, I would imagine Packers are going to be favorites. Assuming Aaron Rodgers is on the team. I mean, this is a team that went to the NFC Championship game the past 2 years. The Niners are good when they're healthy, but
backyard, they have good tackles.
They really don't they're not set at quarterback right now. And I just can't give the Niners the edge over the Packers. Right. I mean, it's close. The Niners really can run on them. They can make them look soft. They've done it in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, they could run for 300 yards on Green Bay. I'm not ruling them out. I think it'll be a very close line. A very close line.
I think early in the season, the Niners can beat mediocre to bad teams. Eagle teams, Lion teams. I think they could beat those teams with a good run game, a good pass rush, good defense. I think when you early in the season, if you're going to play this upper echelon quality team, I think those are games you lose. I think when the quarterback play from the Niners, we're not going to get much. We're not going to ask Kyle's not going to ask a whole lot out of Jimmy or Lance early in seasons. And if you're going to get into a big game in prime time and you're going to have to throw the ball and it's a kind of a back and forth game. Rodgers is going to win those games more times than not.
Yeah. Absolutely. Just seems to me that if the Niners do stay in Youngstown, if they're coming off 2 weeks on the East Coast, if Trey Lance is their quarterback and he's getting his feet underneath him, it's going to be a tough one. Now, they could definitely run for 200, 300 yards, dominate the game. I've seen them do it.
Win, right?
Yeah.
That's how they would win.
They could absolutely do it. This team is weak up the middle. The Packers, their defense, Nick Bosa's back. He terrorized his team a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, if he gets hit a couple of times, will check out.
He can.
I'm not writing him off, but I do think that probably the Packers would have to be at least a 1-point favorite as of right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is a home game for the Niners. This is a home game.
The home opener. So maybe they'll get a little extra juice from that. It'll probably be their first game with fans in a long time. It's going to be a rival. Maybe that will be the juice they need to win this game. They can win. I just don't think much of the Packers. I think they're a soft team, and the Niners are built this year to bully those kind of teams. If you're not strong against the run in all facets, it's going to be a long day against the Niners.
I think the Packers coach and their quarterback in a lot of ways are soft. And it starts from the head down. I think their coach is a smart guy. I don't think he's obviously not a rah-rah guy. Neither is Kyle. But Kyle has an edge to him.
Yes.
I think LaFleur, I think Rodgers walks all over him. And I think Rodgers, I think the mentality of that team, you saw them check out last year in the Bucs game early in the season, different times. I think the coach and the quarterback, if you do punch him in the mouth in the first quarter and you break off a couple big runs and you have guards knocking linebackers off their spot, that's the way you're going to win. You're going to have to bully them.
And Harbaugh did it. The Niners are going to do it. They can do it. I think also the fact that it's week 3, maybe that bodes well for the Niners. Maybe their whole team won't be injured, although last year by week 3 they were all injured. So hard to say. Jeffrey says, who wins if it's Trey versus Love? Good question. I like Trey better. Yeah, absolutely. Love, I don't know. He's good. We'll see. We're running up on an hour, man.
We don't know anything about Love, right?
We don't know not a near nut about Love. We haven't even seen him in preseason. He hasn't played a preseason game yet. So, Brett, this was a hell of a show, man.
Did you have fun, man? Did you have fun?
I had a great time. Did you?
I did. Hey,
I'm sorry my audio was off. You were the star today, man.
Nah, dude, you carry everything, bro.
You missed it.
You know who told me this? Jack Cameron told me this. You make people sound smarter. You make people more entertaining because
that's very nice.
You're a very good conversationalist, and you're a good setup man. You can carry. I've seen you do solo and carry.
Thank you so
set
much,
people up, dude. You're freaking Rajon Rondo with the.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
I had fun, bro. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Everyone follow Brett on Twitter, YouTube. The dude is making moves, man. Thanks, everyone. I'll be back later this afternoon back in my own apartment where there's less echo. Thank you, everyone, for bearing with us on this episode of 49ers.